So good afternoon. What an incredible, inspirational talk there from the Green Sheikh. How do we follow that? Well, I'm here in Dubai at COP28, and I really do feel that I'm surrounded by so much positive drive to change. I'm here today to talk about why the global beauty industry must take action now. You know, we're also working collaboratively, and I'm going to be telling you about the most incredible UK collaboration that we are achieving of bringing all the big beauty brands and beauty companies together, and we will be staging a campaign on the Great British Beauty Cleanup. It's time for the industry to really clean itself up. Figures published last month showed that the global wellness industry is worth a staggering $5.6 trillion. It's incredible. And actually, the beauty sector is the largest. Beauty and products sector is over $1 trillion. Now, what does that mean? I mean, it touches every single person on the planet, really, who's washing their hair, using a soap, and actually using products. Well, what it actually means is that we're creating a lot of packaging. In fact, it's estimated that every year, 120 billion units of packaging are produced by the global cosmetics industry. That's a lot of waste, and that's a lot of emissions. But we do bring a lot of joy, and we bring great health and wellness, and we have to look at how we can combine these two things. Did you know that 70% of the beauty industry plastic waste is not recycled? Did you know that 56% of people don't recycle their bathroom products? And did you know that our industry accounts for 1/3 of all landfill waste? So how do we reimagine this? How do we rethink this for the future? ELEMIS is 33 years old. We co-founded it when we were very young. We had 4 different owners. There was lots of change. Sustainability wasn't even on the agenda. It was fast-moving, fast-paced, growth, NASDAQ stock exchange, private equity. And then finally, something did change. And in 2019, we were acquired by Groupe L'Occitane. And they mandated that they wanted someone to be at board level to change ELEMIS and champion sustainability. And I put my hand up. I've always been super passionate about everything from the charity, giving back, you know, business as a force for good. And that's really when I feel I started my new job. We were asked to put profit alongside the planet and people. We were asked to go through the B Corp certification and really deep dive into our business and really look at how we can change and make business as a force for good. So it's a real mindset shift. It's changing a legacy brand of 30-odd years to look back at what they've achieved, which we're very proud of, but also look forward and say, what is the brand for the future generations? How do we transform this legacy brand for the future generations to be as sustainable as possible in luxury beauty? The first thing we started was we actually engaged with all of our staff because I hadn't even heard of the SDGs. And you know, I'm very happy to tell my story because actually not that many people get to that grassroots level. And we told all our staff to go and look at the United Nations Sustainability Goals, the 17 of them, look at them, read them, and you tell us which ones you feel resonated with ELEMIS as a brand. And our employees, they chose 7. Good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, and life above land. And you think about all those different 7 SDGs, they all filter out from our company. So that was amazing. And actually, while I'm here, we've asked them again to see 3 years later, has that evolved? Has that changed? There's been so many new people join the company. We want to hear from the new generation that are joining us. So we then layered that, and I was very fortunate because Group L'Occitane helped me formulate this into 3 pillars: biodiversity, climate, and people. So really focusing on the climate piece today, we focused on the need to alleviate this climate crisis. What can we do within our value chain? What can we do outside of our value chain? We need to reduce carbon emissions, reduce energy waste and water use. We need to improve the circular eco-design of our formulations and our packaging. We need to encourage all of our supply chain and suppliers and customers to be part of this change. So how do we do that? So you can see we've just got a melange of so many actions. And remember, this only really started in 2019-20. It was quite good because of the COVID. We actually had some time to reflect and really think about this. Firstly, what can we remove? What can we reduce? What can we reuse? What can we refill? Overnight, we just sat there and we said, what can we get rid of? We've got these spatulas in every single product because you don't want to put your finger in. You put the spatula in. Single-use plastic. When we actually went out there and talked to all the journalists, they said, yeah, I use it once, and then it gets a bit dirty, and I leave it on the side, and then I don't use it. I put it in the bin. So literally, overnight, we got rid of these. We saved over 2 tons of plastic by just saying no more. Gone. We got rid of these leaflets. We had these leaflets, 17 languages. Just got rid of them. 13 tons of paper just gone. QR codes now, you can use technology. It's wonderful. We got rid of bubble wrap. You know, tons and tons of bubble wrap being used when we're packing all our consumer packages. Plastic bags, everything was wrapped in plastic. How can we get rid of that? Plastic vac trays for our Christmas gifts, gone. And even the magnet closures, you know, there's a lovely, soft touch and it clicks with the magnet. But that magnet will go on forever polluting in the ocean or the land. All gone within a year. So, we're really trying to, thank you, we're really trying to sort of motivate the industry to do those changes now. You can do it. So what are we going to do next? Well, actually, we did immediately switch to renewable energy. That's another quick win. And we did an interesting one. We stopped air freight for a few months to say, we actually want to know the reason why you're air freighting. So you have to put together a business case why you're air freighting. And do you know what? We found out that actually we were the problem. We weren't planning far enough ahead. We weren't looking to the future. So now we know what the problem is. We can solve that. And we have a huge, huge project going on at the moment. We're going to reduce our range by 50%. We've been in 33 years of building more and more and more and more and more. But when we really look at it, we need to scale that down. We need to be more efficient. We should be only selling what's really selling, and we should not be making all of this product. So we're going to rationalize the range. We're going to be far more efficient. And we're going to really reimagine how the range can look as the most sustainable premium luxury brand. It's a big job, but we're on it. And we're going to look at any ways that we can get that circular economy going. Secondly, so we've reduced and removed what we can do immediately, and we're looking at the future. What can we do to educate and measure? I'd never done anything like that before. I'd never measured our carbon footprint. And we measured that, and I actually found out that over 40% of ELEMIS's footprint is actually from our in-use phase, our scope 3. And that's people using our product. So when they're cleansing with the cleansing balm and using 3 liters of warm water, or 35 liters of warm water when you're washing your body, that is now calculated as carbon emissions. And it's a huge part. So we're researching whether we can actually put together a cold water cleansing campaign in the warmer months, get people to turn the tap off. I reckon I can get the 3 liters down to about half a liter by just education. So we're going to try and educate our industry to turn the tap down, less temperature, more cold water cleansing if they're comfortable with it. We set up a training module for all our staff for Sustainability 101. Everyone has to do that. We put in KPIs for sustainability into everybody's job descriptions. We got all of our top suppliers to do EcoVadis, which is they have to fill out a whole environmental questionnaire, and if they don't rate high enough, we have to look elsewhere. But we also work with them to build on that year on year, and they have to see improvement. And we have to really encourage sort of a conscious consumerism. We need people to look at the sort of quality over quantity. We don't want you to have masses. We want you to have a couple of products that you love and adore, that you use every single drop of them. So thirdly, we've heard quite a lot about nature. And actually, I love nature. My grandfather was a bulb grower in Holland, and he created new varieties of daffodils and irises. So I grew up seeing nature in the heart of it. And we're very pleased actually today to be formally announcing here at COP that ELEMIS is going to be working alongside the RSPB on a really, really exciting project. It's Europe's largest conservation charity, and we're going to be restoring and regenerating peatlands in the fight against climate change. And I don't know if you're aware, but peatlands are nature's greatest superpower. They're covering about 3% of the planet, which isn't a huge amount, yet storing more carbon than all of the world's forests combined. I couldn't believe that stat. And the UK peatlands are currently, they're in a crisis. Over 70% of our peatlands are in a degraded state, emitting more emissions than 5 million cars on the road. So these wet, boggy landscapes, ours are going to be in Scotland, are really important. And it's a restoration project. And what I love about it, it's forward thinking. It's a 60-year program. I won't even be here to see those final years, but it's so exciting. So we're going to restore this peatland area that's going to sequester the carbon, that's going to then be doing good for the environment. So that's really, really interesting. And that partnership with the RSPB will have a huge impact for nature, for people, and for wildlife, all whilst helping us fight back against the climate change. Fourthly, we need to innovate where we haven't got solutions. Now, we all know in the beauty industry, pumps aren't recyclable. Airless systems, product like ours, we quite often have airless systems. Still haven't found the solutions. So we're going to be pushing those packaging companies to come up with the solutions. But I wanted to tell you about something that was really, really interesting. The industry loves to sample product, that sachet, that usually ends up in landfill, polluting our lands, polluting our oceans. And this collaboration, this meeting people at places like this is where we need to be. And I was approached by a lady called Sian Sutherland. She has a very proactive Plastic Planet activist. And she said, you've got to meet these guys from Cambridge University. They're a startup called Zampler. See if you can do something together. And we literally had one meeting. They had an Innovate UK grant for £100,000 to help fund this research. We sat down and I said, this is our best-selling product. This is the ELEMIS cleansing balm. It's beautiful. It's got 9 essential oils. It's very oil-rich. And I was thinking, wouldn't it be amazing if we could build a sachet for this product out of something that's in it? So about 30 miles from our office in London is a 5th-generation farmer who I adore. He's in his 80s now. And he grows fields, 5,000 hectares, of borage starflower. And we sent the borage starflower that we take the seeds from, we press the seeds, and we're left with a byproduct after the seeds have been pressed. So we sent him the byproduct to the Zampler, and they researched it. And here, nobody's ever seen this before, and it's not that beautiful yet. This is a sachet of ELEMIS Pro Cleansing Balm in a protein from the borage. So now it's under test. They can print on it. It's brown, very earthy. It's going to have a few challenges. I can already feel it. I can smell the essential oils are permeating through. But we're starting. We're innovating. They're so blown away by this. They've done it on pea protein, but they've never done it on borage. And they said the elasticity is incredible. So now we've got to keep going. We've got to now merge this with the technology of people and make this happen and create a sachet that is sustainable. So there we go. We can use leftover plant material from our seed crops to create a circular, biodegradable film, which can be used for sampling. It can even be used around a dishwasher tab, and much more. We need to move towards this circular economy. We really do. We need to get rid of all single-use plastics, and we have to reduce the use of virgin plastic too. And finally, I'm very proud, my final fifth, and most importantly, is we do need collaboration. So I'm very proud that I was asked to join the British Beauty Council Sustainability Beauty Coalition. I'd never joined anything like that before. I'd spent 33 years of my career head down, ELEMIS, not really opening my mind to anything else apart from that. And I'm now the co-chair of the Sustainability Beauty Coalition with two wonderful people, Joe Chidley and Mark Smith from Natru. And we said, this is such an enormous task that we've got to do. Let's simplify. Let's do one thing really, really well. And we decided we would focus on this waste, this 120 billion units of packaging. And we're going to do that for the next 12 months. So we've formed 6 task forces. There's a government link. There's plastic reduction team, which is under Sian Sutherland. There is reuse, refill, under the Joe Chidley, who has an enormous amount of experience on that. There is the professional services, which I'm championing, which, did you know, we only recycle 2% of aluminium foils used when people dye their hair, and that could all be recycled into a circular economy, 2%. And actually, hair is fantastic fertilizer, and it breaks down into a protein. I had no idea. You can even grow mushrooms on hair. So I'm learning all these things. And then the 5th task force is retailers and brands. So I'm going to champion all those brands to get rid of all their single use straight away. And finally, it's all about education and going out to the consumer. What can we do? So we've coined it under this one campaign, which we'll be launching in about 12 months' time when we've got everything in a good place. And it's going to be called the Great British Beauty Cleanup. And I think it's a really powerful thing. And we're working with Boots Walgreens, L'Oreal, Lush, some of the massive brands. They've all joined forces. And we're meeting and we're talking and we're resolving. And actually, I think we're really getting a lot of support from each other. It's a tough gig being in this industry and sustainability. We've got to all keep together, work together. We might be competitors, but actually, this beautiful world that we live in, you know, it's not going to be here if we don't actually hold hands and start thinking about progress. Progress over perfection is absolutely where we stand. We know we're not perfect. We've got a long way to go, but we're all moving every single day in the right direction, and we have to take action. We have to have the courage to change. We have to act now, and that's really for the future of our planet and our people. So thank you very much. I don't know if anyone's got any questions that they want to ask me. Thank you. What's your question? How do you get the attention of the C-suite if you're working in this? Well, the first thing I'd do is join the British Beauty Council and the Sustainability Beauty Coalition, because Millie Kendall is a force to be reckoned with. That's if you're in the UK. If you're here, whereabouts are you? Here. I think you have to champion what other brands are doing. You have to showcase what other brands are doing. You know, you should be talking about the brands that are winning out there, the brands that are B Corp, the brands that are talking up, and actually really, really show that it really does help sell. You know, it's not ever going to be the number one, but actually, this next generation, they are conscious. They do want to buy good. So I think highlighting the top brands and what they're doing is the easiest way to talk to the C-suite. And I'll come and talk to them for you. Any other questions? Oh, thank you.
Hi, my name is Amel, and I am a clean beauty enthusiast.
Yes.
And one of the things is in U.S. There's only two ingredients banned, and our bill hasn't been updated since 1924. What do you think, as an American, we can do to get to the standards of the European Union and also the UK?
That's a very good question. There is news coming your way because there is new legislation coming in, and America will soon, very soon, be following the EU directive this year. So you're going to see a huge change, especially for a lot of American companies. There is big change. I mean, obviously you have state by state as well, so you have different legal structures in each state. But I think the US government are going to have to really listen up and look at what the EU have done. They've got 1,200 ingredients that are banned, and I think, to your point, I think there's 12 in the US. But they've got this new, it's called MOCRA, so have a little read up about it, and they are going to be looking at the EU as, you know, the future proofing. And the EU has work to do as well. You know, there's still liquid plastics in there and things like that, which will be banned in 10 years' time, that are seen to be really polluting the oceans and the rivers. So I think it's all about making sure that you understand what's going on, reading about it, and you'll see that they are changing. So there's some positive news there.
Um, Thank you for that. I wanted to ask a question regarding when we're talking about kind of clean makeup. I love having clean makeup. I'm thinking about my face brands when I wash my face, but they're very expensive.
Yeah.
So, from an equity standpoint, where do you see the industry going so that all women can access basically good quality products, but not at an extortionate price?
Yeah, I think we've seen a real change up. There used to be low price down there and premium up there, but we have seen brands like the Inky List coming in and filling those gaps. We've seen the retailers bringing out their hyaluronics and at the lower price. So we've seen this sort of merge now, where it's kind of like getting more affordable luxury. So I think it is getting easier. I think you're always going to have, like a brand like ours, we spend a huge amount of money on clinical trials, and we invest a lot in our ingredients. Sometimes it takes us 3-4 years to actually develop an ingredient to make it unique to us. We've just got a very exciting ingredient where we have collected algae around the purest shores of the UK. And we've then gone to a tech company in Spain to try and grow that algae in a biotech way. So there's all sorts of research and tech going on behind some of these really bigger companies. And you know, at the end of the day, there's a cost to that. So I think you'll find that some of the entry points, they might not have the clinicals, they might not have the figures and facts to support what they're doing, and that's why some of the more expensive products have to charge a bit more. Oh,
Hi.
hi, Mary.
Can everyone hear me? Hello. Thank you so much, Oriele. I've got a really basic question, which is kind of similar to the one I get asked when I give talks about sustainable fashion, which is, what can the consumer do? You know, I want to, let's say, go out and buy some mattifying fluid for this week because I'm shiny as a piece of glass. And yet, it'll be a plastic bottle, and I'll use that stuff, I'll feel better about myself putting it on, but I'll still have this pang of guilt. And for example, MAC, who do the wood one that I like, they don't have a take-back program, so I'm going to be stuck with some plastic, and I'm just going to feel guilty about it. What do you advise beauty consumers to do when they know their brand doesn't have a take-back program?
I mean, I think the more educated you can be about the plastics, because plastics, you know, they get a very bad press. But actually, if you think about it, they're light, they hold that product, they might need to squeeze it. Glass doesn't do that. Glass is heavy, higher carbon. So it's a bit of a sort of offset, kind of like glass, plastic, and it's a big debate in our industry. I think it's just being educated about what is better for the environment, always using all the product if you can,
Yeah.
not wasting any, not buying masses, be really conscious, you're actually better off buying that one product and using every single element of it. But I think it's being conscious about the different plastics that are recyclable and are not. The problem at the moment in our country, only 9% of all the things that we put in our recycle bins actually get recycled. And the majority of them are the ones that only have a commodity and a price, like aluminium, your tins, and glass. Everything else, the sorting of it, the complexities, plastic is probably the worst in terms of getting recycled. So there was a lot of work to do. I would actually push back, and we need to go to the industries, to the governments, and say, you've got to improve your recycling rates. Because there's a lot of these take-back systems, but if you think about it, you feel good, you bring back your take-back, you pop it in the box, but if only 9% of that, and only the glass, and only the aluminium is actually being recycled, it's a little bit of a cycle that's not actually that good. So I think we've all got to get more educated about what is better. And I think the industry has got to really shake up in terms of packaging and find the most sustainable materials to use, and then the governments have to up their game on recycling and get that circular economy working. There's a really interesting idea that Joe Chidley's working on, and it's called Reposit, and that's democratizing packaging. Could we all share the same bottle and clean it and reuse it and clean it and reuse it? And actually, there are models like in Germany, beers used to be done in glass bottles. Everyone had the same glass bottle, all the competitors, and they all did their own labels. So is the future, we've got to reimagine it in the future. How can we get packaging that we could just reuse and clean and reuse? And it's not an easy problem to fix. But we're all thinking in a very different way than we were 5, 10 years ago. Thank you. Thanks a lot.